Today we are going to be talking about Naples, Florida. We're going to be talking about the reasons that people choose not to live in Naples, Florida, whether that be they flew in, they looked around, they decided it is not for them, or maybe they've been living in Naples, Florida for a year or so and they're just done, they're out, they're moving. We're going to talk about the reasons that happens, and these are going to be new reasons. So this is what I have seen lately in the past year or so, and these reasons are pretty different than the reasons that people used to give 10 years ago, because things have changed in Naples. They have dramatically changed in Naples, Florida. So if you're new to the channel, let me introduce myself. My name is Barrett Pastor, and I've been a real estate broker for 27 years. So hopefully I'm coming to you from a place of knowledge and experience, and I can help you navigate all things Florida real estate. Now, if you are on the fence and you're not sure what you want to do, if you want to move to Florida or not, what area is best for you, what neighborhood is best for you, what time frame is best for you, I do offer 40-minute consultations. We can do a 40-minute Zoom call or a phone call. I will leave a link right here and also down in the description box if you're interested. So let's talk about the reasons that people do not choose Naples as their home. All right, so as we jump into these, I want to begin by saying that I make the assumption that you know all the good things about Naples. I'm going to make the assumption that you're looking at that area because you know all the good things. And listen, there are a lot of good things about Naples, Florida. There truly are many, many good things. It's a safe area. There's lots of restaurants, shopping, boutiques, beach accessibility. There's a lot of good things about Naples. The weather, if you love warm weather. But just like anywhere, there are things that are not so fabulous. And to balance things out so that you're getting the good with the less good, the good with the bad, we're going to talk about the reasons that people don't choose Naples. All right, in no particular order, they did not like the gated community feel. So what people don't realize is that I would say probably 90% or more of Naples, Florida is behind gates, individual gates, community gates. So what ends up happening is you can have a tendency to feel a little bit isolated, a little sequestered, a little bit of we live behind this gate and you live behind that gate. There is a little bit of that going on, and then people can tend to get a little bit cliquey and they get a little provincial all the way down to their neighborhood. So you're not branching out into the community as much as you may have thought that you would. And then the other thing about gated communities is that you cannot freely drive through other communities. So let's say you rent in a community that's gated. Pick any, you rent there. And your thought was that you were going to drive around Naples, you were going to get to know the area over the next 2-3 months, and then you were going to pick something to buy. No, you're not. No, you're not. Yes, you can get in the gates during an open house, but other than that, you are not getting through those gates. You'll get it, especially if it's guard gated. They're not going to let you in. And if it's not guard gated, you're not going to sit there and try to crack the code of somebody's gate. Let's say you're Earl and you're 78 years old and you don't have a guard gate. You have one of those things where there's a sticker on your window and you have to drive through a certain lane, and that little QR code or whatever it is supposed to hit the beam and the gate's supposed to open, but you are having problems with it and it doesn't seem to work. Half the time you try to get home and the only thing that gate is accomplishing is locking you out of your own home. That happens. That's aggravating. I used to live in a gated community, and in that gated community, I remember my own mother couldn't get through that gate. Sometimes the guard at the gate, you call your guests in and something gets messed up and then your guests can't come to see you, and it's aggravating, annoying, and embarrassing. Second one, it's too old. It feels too old. And I don't mean the houses. I mean the people. And listen, I'm just telling you the reality of it. We all know that Florida is a retirement community, but in particular Naples, Florida, it does trend older. It may even trend oldest. So let's say you're 55 or 60 years old and you want to have a nice active retirement, but you find that the community, Naples as a whole, feels very aged to you. So instead of you feeling like you're around your people, your young, healthy, older people, you find that you're just looking at death's door everywhere you go. You hear ambulances all the time. That's a real thing. For some areas, you're going to hear them all the time. Every time you go to the store, every time you try to strike up a conversation with somebody, they're talking about their knees and their back and, auntie this one that died and their sister that died and their neighbor that died. And you find it to be incredibly depressing. I hear it all the time. When you decided to move to Naples, you wanted a beachy lifestyle. You, in your mind, had figured easy breezy, beach during the day, guitar music blowing in the wind at night, just an easy, casual, palm tree kind of life. And what you discovered is tons of traffic, really hard to park at the beach, a lack of accessibility in some areas because there are high rises up and down some of the areas, lots of gates, lots of haves and have-nots going on. You realize that you can't go fishing wherever you want. Many places you have to get a permit to go fishing. It just didn't have the feel you were looking for. You can't boat. You can't find anywhere to boat. In order to place your boat somewhere, you had to place your boat an hour away minimum at a marina that's massively expensive. So here's the thing. During COVID, when all of that started to blow up, people from outside of the immediate area of Naples, people from all over the country, thinking they were eventually, maybe in the next year or so, I'm going back to like 2020-ish, people started moving their boats to Florida in front of finding a home because the boat was the most important thing to them. So what ended up happening was our marinas got full of people that have boats from outside the area, and then the people within the area could not put their boat there. So even now to this day, can you buy a boat slip? Yes, you can. They are not cheap. The maintenance of them, meaning the monthly fee to have your boat there, is also not cheap. And also for many people, you might have to drive an hour or more to get to where your boat is. So it really isn't, it doesn't give you that kind of feel that maybe you thought you would have, where you just, if you're used to boating on a river or you're used to boating on a lake, it is far different than boating in Naples, Florida. You found out the service is horrible. And not only is it horrible, the wait for it is also horrible. So what do I mean by that? I mean standing in line to get your deli sandwich from Publix. I mean finding a good hairdresser that is there from week to week, because this great hairdresser cannot afford to live in Naples, so she has to drive an hour and a half in, and it just is not worth it. So you see tons of turnover. Pharmaceutical technicians, hairdressers, mechanics, body shops, restaurants, delis, you name it, across the board. It is hard to get people because the jobs don't pay enough for them to live close enough to make it worth the drive back and forth. So that is, I always mention this, that is the Achilles heel of Florida, is that these things are problematic and they're prevalent. I mean, anybody that's here for any length of time, you know that. And this is another one that I talk about all the time: really bad or really inaccessible, or both, healthcare. Really hard to get in with a good doctor. Really hard to get in with a specialist, if not almost impossible. So let's say you're self-employed and you pay for your insurance and you can't get in to see that specialist but one time a year. You essentially, let's say you pay $1,500 a month for your insurance. Now you might say, if you're on Medicare, you might say, oh, that's ridiculous. Nobody pays $1,500 a month for their insurance. Let me tell you, as somebody who is self-employed, Yeah, we do. Yes, we do. So if you need to get in to see a specialist, you might only be able to see that specialist once a year because of the wait. So do the math on what you just paid for that guy. It's crazy. Hurricane fear and fatigue. It is a real thing. There have been so many hurricanes, tropical storms, near misses, floods, all of these things that have come through the area. It has created a real prevalent fear of hurricanes. And if you're Earl and you're 78 years old and you live by yourself and you didn't want to pay for the upgrade for impact resistant doors and windows, and you wanted to get manual hurricane shutters, and now you can't find the screws to the hurricane shutters, and every time there's a warning for a hurricane you panic, you're just done and over with. You're just done. Let's do one more. My gosh, I have so many here in front of me written down, but let's do one more. I would say the last one I would give you is it's just globally expensive. People find out that not only is their home expensive, the maintenance of their home is expensive. The constant maintenance of their AC is expensive. And listen, if you're like me, you feel it. If your AC is 2 degrees higher than it usually runs, you're feeling it, because especially in the summer, it's hot all the time. The other thing too, this is a little bonus, and I would love to know if any of you have that. If you have single pane windows, when it's cool on the inside and it's really hot on the outside, your beautiful view might be completely steamed to where you can't see out your window. Do you know what I'm talking about? Because I see this in homes all the time. When I'm showing homes and I can't show somebody the beautiful view because the windows are so steamed up from that happening. So that's just a little weird thing going on. But that said, that's a good point, that if you wanted to upgrade to hurricane impact resistant doors and windows, it's really, really expensive to do it. Your car insurance is higher than what it probably is up north. Obviously, your insurance is higher for your home. Your flood insurance is high. The food is higher. It's just across the board more expensive. So those are a handful of reasons that people choose not to live in Naples, Florida. Did I miss anything? Let me know your thoughts down in comments.